Welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Good Nurse Outlook, a podcast discussing things nursing, healthcare, and everyday matters as well. Honestly, the topics are endless. I'm your host, Nurse Naj. Let's get into it. Hey, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the Good Nurse Outlook podcast. We are on episode 12, and today's topic is going to be nurse bullies. Before we dive in, I just want to thank you guys so much for your likes, comments, shares, and just engaging with me, whether it's via Instagram or through messages like the podcast app. I really appreciate it. If you are watching me on YouTube, please subscribe, like, share, comment. If you're listening to me on Anchor, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please rate, leave a comment. Just let me know what you think. Before we dive into this heavy topic, I just want to catch you guys up on what I've been doing. Recently, I went to a church retreat. It was a 3-day event. It was so amazing. God was there, and it was just a wonderful experience. I also have a trip coming up. I'm going to Costa Rica this week. So excited, going with a friend of mine. We went to nurse practitioner school together. I am still waiting on my license. It takes a long time, so I'm not even holding my breath on it. And I heard the people. I am working on, I don't know how well, on getting my book on Amazon. It's not a lot of work, but it's not coming out the way I want it to come. But I know people love Chart Like a Boss. I have been selling crazy this month. Well, last month of July, I've sold over 400 copies. I posted this reel and it did amazing numbers, and I'm still shocked. It's still doing numbers. I'm working on getting it on Amazon because one, people are asking about it, and two, people find it more convenient, even though they take 60%, but whatever. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Now let's dive into today's topic. I have been an RN for 5 years now. Every now and then on a new contract, I come into encounters with nurse bullies. Now, sometimes people, they want to try you. They want to test your limits, see what you're going to tolerate, what you're going to accept. Some people will undermine you, right? Because they feel like first they'll go off appearance and be like, oh, they look young, naive. Maybe I can try it with them. But honey, don't judge a book by its cover, because these young nurses ain't playing either, okay, honey? Now, if you ever work with me or just listen to me on my podcast or follow me on social media, I'm a very bubbly, friendly person. I go out of my way to help people, but some things I just don't tolerate, and nurse bullying is one of them. I'm not gonna let you bully me, and I'm not gonna be that nurse that sits around and watch you bully another nurse. When I first started my nursing career, it was a teaching hospital. There's always nurse students. All the time I saw nurse bullying. It was just very unfortunate to see. At one point, of course, I was new myself, so like I wouldn't engage, but I would just pull that nurse aside who was bullied, or that nursing student who was bullied, and just be like, don't take this to heart. Don't take this personal. You're doing an amazing job. The best thing I can say for you, if you're a person that is non-confrontational, but you witness nurse bullying, pull that nurse that was bullied, pull her aside, talk to her, be supportive, and just let her know, like, hey, you're doing a great job. As nurses, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. Have empathy for other nurses, even if you aren't like the confrontational type. Try to just show empathy. Let them know that you're there for them. Encourage and support them, because you may not want to confront the person that was being the bully, but at least the person that was a victim of being bullied knows, like, okay, well, at least I have some type of support here, and that everyone's not just chuckling aside on the corner and judging me. So, American Nurse Association defines bullying as repeated, unwanted, harmful actions intended to humiliate, offend, and cause distress in the recipient. American Nurse Association also reports that 18% to 31% of nurses have been bullied by a colleague. It's probably higher than that. No one's just probably speaking up. I know it's so terrible, the phrase nurses eat their young, because I want to believe that this is not true. We love and support each other. But some nurses tend to forget where they started from. Some tend to forget that they were once new, and they forget to have empathy. And that's not right. But we're going to dive into that. Now, let's break this down. What are some actions of a nurse bully? Some of the actions can be belittling the nurse, being harshly or unfair, chastising the colleague for doing a subpar job, especially in front of patients or clinicians. Don't embarrass me in front of other people. If I mess up, I understand. Don't Don't do that. Another form of bullying could be minimizing your colleague. Basically saying, suck it up, like it's not that bad, just move on, deal with it, just eat it up. That is a form of bullying as well. Name calling, referring to your colleague as a bad nurse, oh, they're always late. I mean, it could be facts, but it's the way it's said, it's the delivery and always bringing it up. Then you have yelling, raising one's voice to intimidate or scare another person. I've seen this multiple times. I don't know what makes a nurse think she has the right to yell at another nurse, especially in front of people, clinicians. You don't see doctors rarely. I probably out of my whole career twice seen doctors like go at it with each other. And again, I work in the emergency room. So yes, it may happen. But doctors don't do that. But nurses will battle each other. Like, why? Another form of bullying is pushing or shoving or blocking someone's way. I think that's like harassment too. Pushing or shoving is assault. I just find this one crazy because it's about to get pushed or shoved and not say nothing or fight back. Blocking someone's way, preventing a person from leaving or going where they want. This has actually happened to me where a nurse like tried to corner me in the med room to talk to me. Ma'am, move. She did something very inappropriate and I said something then and there. I guess she didn't like how it was said, so she waited until I was going in the med room and literally came in there, blocked the door, and was like, we need to talk. Girl, you need to move. I know I'm nice and bubbly, but I do not play that. You trying to start something with HR. You blocking my way. And if I need to defend myself, I'm just kidding. It didn't get that far because I really don't play that. Another way can be gossiping, spreading rumors about a colleague, talking about their work ethic, bringing up their personal business. Why you would know their personal business is crazy, but people do be telling their personal business at work. Ignoring calls for support. If a nurse is calling for backup or forcing that nurse to complete hazardous tasks alone or delay care until another nurse becomes available. A perfect example would be if a nurse needs help to clean a patient. You don't really like her like that. So when she asks for help, nobody's looking, nobody's paying her attention. The techs aren't paying her attention, like nobody. Like that's a form of bullying. Then you have ostracizing, purposely not including a colleague in conversation or group activities that contribute to morale. That can be a form of just like excluding a coworker from lunch, or everyone's ordering Starbucks and you literally go around ask everyone except for that one nurse. That is a form of bullying. And when you ostracize someone, another form is just like not necessarily in the workplace, but let's say you're having an event at your home. You want that person to continue to feel left out, continue to feel like nobody cares about them, continue to feel like they're on their own. So you're having this event, you invite all, like you clicked up, you know those nurse clicks, and they all clicked up. They're all working on the same day, and they excluding you out. And then that one nurse that's holding the event is like going around telling everybody about the event, inviting them, but not inviting you. Like you're out here by yourself, and they're having their little click thing and stuff like that. And of course, inviting someone in your home can be a personal thing, but also like some people do it with intention to make a person feel left out. It doesn't even necessarily have to be your home. It could be drinks after work, something like that. So, who is the bully? Sometimes you have a supervisor, but more commonly, it's nurses targeting fellow nurses. Types of nurse bullies. So, you have this super nurse who is more experienced. She condescends other coworkers. Like she always makes you feel bad. She's so entitled. I'm superior. My work experience. You know that super nurse. She be doing too much and nothing at the same time. Then you have cliquish nurses. This type of bully uses exclusion as a mean of aggression. Oh, it was ostracizing, right? By showing favoritism to some while ignoring others. This bully creates an us versus them dynamic within the healthcare organization. Then you have two-faced nurses. These nurses cultivate fake alliances that they then betray, wielding information as a weapon to increase their own standing. Now, I feel like some nurses have all these traits. And then you have the resentful nurse. These bullies tend to create a hostile work environment by holding grudges against other nurses, staff, patients, or healthcare system itself. That's just the nurse that's like the call bell's on, they're not gonna answer it. Their assignment is too heavy. They're gonna do the bare minimum and they're gonna be very slow. They're just gonna make the work environment uncomfortable. Like we all know those resentful nurses. And then the two-faced nurses, those are the ones that's going to smile in your face, try to get some information from you, make you think that they're your friend, that they have your best interest. And then as soon as you turn your back, they're going to be talking about you to the next nurse, putting all the information that you told them, personal business. Never tell your personal business at work. Maybe if you were going through something or you're crying in the break room because you had a difficult case, they're going to take that information and bring it to another nurse. You usually could tell who they are if you're not able to tell and you just happen to be a victim of it. Use that as experience to learn from. Have I ever been a nurse bully? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I have. Hear me out. I exhibited more passive aggressive behavior. The nurse that had blocked me in to the med room, when I first started, she always had like some issue with me. She would gossip about me, talk about my work ethic, how I'm like fake friendly and I'm really not a nice person and I have a hidden agenda. She was going through her own things. Literally, she had her own things. As a new nurse, you don't really take into consideration, and maybe you don't want to take it into consideration because how come you having your own problems and your own drama? Why do you have to inflict that on me? Why do I have to be a victim of your insecurities, your issues that you're going through? Why do I have to deal with that? Why do I have to be understanding of it? It can be difficult as a new nurse to understand that, especially when you are already trying to learn so much. That's not your burden. However, working in healthcare, you're gonna have to learn to just take things to the chin. Basically, she was just doing too much all the time, and then I just got sick of it. I've even tried to talk to her about it. She would just deny. I was delusional. She didn't have a problem with me. I was making it all up. You know how they do. They play these little like, oh, she's so aggressive, and it wasn't mean to her or anything like that. I would just ignore the crap out of her. I would pretend she didn't exist. I would not pay attention to her. We worked the same shift, so I never had to give her a report. My excluding game was crazy. Literally, she did not exist to me. I would order coffee, not invite her. I would bring things in, not offer it to her. I just didn't have the time or the energy. I wasn't intentionally being a bully, but looking back, it was bully behavior. What do you do when you already try to confront someone? They don't want to take heed to it. You just have to work to do the best job you can and just ignore them. And that's what I was doing. There were situations where I would invite her. I remember one time I kind of felt bad after a while of just doing this. Planned an event, invited her out. We actually had a good time. Like, she was such a different person outside of work, which was like so surprising and so crazy. But that's not going to be the case in all cases. So I don't want you to think like invite your nurse bully out for drinks, because it doesn't work like that. I actually ended up inviting her out because a patient member, I'll never forget this, he came out yelling at her like she was a child. And I mean, in her face, like pointing and screaming. Nobody jumped in. Nobody said anything. Nobody was like, sir, you need to calm down. She looked like she was breaking inside. And I just got up and I was like, excuse me, sir, you cannot continue this behavior. We will call security and have you escorted out. You can go back in your room and the nurse will be right there. However, this type of hostile environment that you're creating, we are not going to accept. And then she looked at me like, I think she was like, wow. Honestly, I was shocked myself because I did not see myself defending a nurse bully. But you also not gonna talk to my colleague like she's some animal. I felt so bad. I invited her out for drinks and we had such a great time. I was so surprised, and it really changed the dynamics of our situation. Some people can be a bully unintentionally. Like, I know it sounds crazy because like how can you unintentionally bully someone, make them feel low, they don't matter, disrespect them? I get it. But some cultures are more aggressive than others. Some people talk with such a assertive, demanding posture, you know what I mean? They may be so forward and see nothing wrong with that. And that's when you just set the tone like, hey, you're coming off this way. And I'm not sure if you mean to, but it ain't working out. Some people may not see anything wrong with their actions. Some people are just unaware and they get away with it for so long because a lot of people love to hold on to that. Oh, that's just how they are. Well, people can change. If you can address that person on their behavior and their actions and let them know how it makes you feel or how it's portrayed, I'm sure they would see it from your point of view and actually try to change. Nobody wants to be, I mean, some people do, but mostly nobody wants to be like a jerk. What are some solutions for bullying? Confront the bully firmly but peacefully. Hey, I'm not sure if you're aware, but sometimes you can come off as, there's two ways you could do this. You could confront them in front of everybody, which I highly, highly recommend that you do not. I think the best way is just to pull that person aside. So some people feel like if they confront a person in front of a crowd, then it will make that person feel this person means business, they're serious. But some people will take that as just initiative to even be more angrier with you. How I recommend you confront someone is you just pull them to the side. Hey, when you get a chance, I just want to speak to you about something really quick. Do you have time now? Don't give them a chance to like, okay, and then, completely ignore you. Set the tone. Do you have a chance to talk to me right now? Make sure they're not busy. Like, make sure they're not passing meds and they got like all this other stuff going on. But if they're sitting down charting, you see them talking to a doctor after they're walking away, like, try to catch them when they're not busy. I'm not going to want to talk to you if I'm busy. Another thing you can do is document the behavior. This person is a constant bully. You could just jot down different things, different times that they have, and then you could take this, bring it to your management. However, sometimes management is clicked up with the bullies. Those situations never really go well, especially if you're being bullied and the person you're being bullied by is clicked up with the supervisor or the manager, you can go to HR, but most likely HR is connected to the supervisor and nothing changed. From experience, I was working at one job and this one nurse, she would give me all the heavy patients. Sometimes she would give me patients with no vital signs, give me patients with no triage, take patients from her friends and give them to me. I went and brought all this to the manager, told him about it. He ignored me. I wrote a letter and I brought it to him, and he balled it up in front of me and threw it in the trash can. I don't even know what he said. I just remember him balling it up and throwing it in the trash can and just like not taking my complaint seriously. You could stand up to that bully, which falls along with confronting them. I guess standing up means just let them know during that action. They're talking to you crazy during report. Let me talk about that. I have had nurses rush me through report. Are you done? Okay, moving on. Excuse me. Don't do that. You need to wait. Don't do that. One, you're disrespecting me. I'm trying to give you a report about the patient. And I don't give lengthy reports, but some nurses are just like so impatient and angry and they don't want to hear it. I stop it right then and there. I set the tone because you're not going to rush me through a report. I miss telling you something. Then you want to try to fall back on this nurse did it. Anyways, I'm the documentation queen. So if I'm giving you a report and the patient is open for something, I'm definitely documenting handoff report endorsed to this nurse. Patient is open for this. Nurse is aware, and I just wrap it up. Too many times nurses will try to have the blame fall onto you. Another thing you can do is go to HR, which sometimes doesn't always work, but that's an option. And then you can seek work elsewhere. That is like so extreme. I feel like seeking work elsewhere just because you're being bullied is just too wild to even imagine. But I have done that before. I won't even lie. That job where the manager balled up the paper and threw it out, it was just like, you know what? You clicked up with this person. I'm never gonna prosper in this place anyways. You clicked up with the mean girls. You scared of them, really. That's what it came down to. The supervisor was afraid of the mean girls. I left a job during bullying, and honestly, it was like the greatest thing because I got paid more, acquired greater skills, met such amazing people, praise God, and I had my peace, period. There was a report published by Nursing Administration Quarterly, and they spoke on nurse bullying, and they report that over half of nurses leave their first job within 6 months due to bullying. And it's not something that people talk about. Have you ever been bullied? Have you ever experienced this in the workplace? I hate to say that the phrase nurses eat their young is still valid, but I love the phrase nurses support nurses because truly there will be more good nurses than bad nurses. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, be kind, have an amazing weekend, and God bless you. Peace.